They're back. Australia's best tyre-frying burnout brigade have converged on Sydney Dragway for the precision Brashernats. Winter is here, and they're lighting a bonfire of burnt rubber at the biggest burnout showdown in New South Wales. The scene is exploding with huge crowds and an ever-growing collection of incredible machinery. Entrants have come from all corners of the country to earn their stripes or just leave a couple on the pad. The recent Burnout King in Western Australia was a fiercely fought contest, with 3 of the West's best now heading to Canberra in the new year. Darren Williams nabbed the #1 position, picking up the first of 3 Masters spots in diesel. On his heels was Justin Brown, who in Wanna Go scored 2nd place and incredibly managed to qualify 2 cars. His flame-throwing struggling station wagon already in the field. 4th place Anthony Page collected that 3rd golden ticket to Summernats, as 2nd place Lynchy was already qualified. 114 hopefuls are here at Brashernats with the same idea. Grab one of those 3 golden tickets on offer and a spot in the 2016 Burnout Masters at Summernats 29.
Summernats is the event of events. All year we travel around Australia to get that ticket to that Masters event. It's the one everybody turns up no matter what, and it's the one everybody wants to win.
Oh, Summernats is the pinnacle. Summernats is just a different beast. You know what I mean? It's a very intimidating place. You know, you walk down on the pad and it just, you know, makes the hair on the back of your neck stand.
If you're serious about burnouts in Australia, that's what you want. You want that Masters ticket. And people will travel to every state throughout the year to get that Masters ticket. It is the grand final.
The venue has just got that era, has got that feeling. You turn up to Summernats, it's like, yes, I've made it.
Earlier in the day, all cars conducted a qualifying burnout to produce a final top 30. However, there was carnage early, literally. A big nose-to-tail incident took Sean Khan's beautiful Commodore out for the day, and probably a lot longer. Mark Schwerzy did major damage to his Black Beauty at this event last year, and unfortunately for Mark, blown flew again. With so much at stake, everyone was pushing the limits. Some overstepped the mark. A tough blow for a tough car. Whether it's thrills or spills, one thing is always guaranteed. The competition will be intense. Let's turn up the temperature with a top 30 as the search continues for more Burnout Masters. Yes, welcome to Sydney Dragway, everybody. My name's Chad Naylon. I'm joined by Aaron Mackley, and we are ready for Brashernats 2015, trying to find 3 more people to join us at the Burnout Masters next year at Summernats. Who is it going to be? We've boiled it down to the best. Let's go sideways with Thomas Batz.
Yeah, Tommy Batz in the VL Calais, just watch. Been in some pretty good form lately. Up in Darwin at Brashernats just recently. Drove the wheels off the car all day. And here we go again. Really fast tipping on the limiter from word go. That's his style, Tommy Batz.
Aggression. Aggression seems to be the word. It's amazing, that angle there. This looks like your everyday stock standard Calais. And then you see what's sticking out of what would have been a bonnet if it was there. Wild blowers, big smoke, flames, and popping tyres. That's what the Burnout Masters is all about.
Yeah, Thomas has got the blown injected LS up the front of this VL Calais. You can hear him banging and clanging away off the limiter. He's making fairly good smoke, but if he could just keep it below that limiter, he'd be making a whole lot more. Still a very entertaining burnout nonetheless. Really good driving scores.
And yes, if you're wondering, smoke is a huge part of those scores.
It certainly is. Instant smoke, constant smoke, volume of smoke. They make up 60% of your score. So you've got to make sure you're doing well in all of those categories.
Hanging out the window, pleading for some support from this massive crowd. They're absolutely eating it up. And now we've got a small fire. Well, that's not a small fire, it's a huge fire.
Yeah, and he's already got one tyre down. He wants to get the other one down as quick as he possibly can.
The fireys will be stepping in very shortly to put a stop to this. He needs to get it down. I think he has.
Yeah, I think he has. That last 5 or 7 seconds, though, that's going to affect his consistency of smoke scores. But nonetheless, that was a sensationally entertaining burnout. Tommy Batz in Just Watch.
How's the remnants of this burnout strewn all around the pad? And now it finally comes to an end. He gets out of the car. Listen to this crowd at Brashernats go wild.
Yeah, that was entertainment plus. We can have a look at the right-hand tyre flaring up there again. And that comes from on and off the throttle, just pumping all that raw fuel out the exhaust. The sparks from the tyres just lighting up the fuel. Not far away from getting the tyre down. He would have picked himself up an extra couple of points had that not caught fire, and it was making smoke all the way through to the finish.
The score was okay, but given the quality in the field, you'd have to assume that we'll be seeing scores higher than 90. Maybe even this guy. One tough HG, that it is.
Yeah, Gersekowski, Mr. Consistency everywhere he takes this show quality ute. He's finishing in the top 5 or 10, or even higher in some cases. And this is exactly why. Just listen to those constant revs.
The momentum stops just for a little bit, but you have to say he's using a lot of this pad, and at Sydney Dragway, it is a very big burnout pad to use.
Yeah, that's a key to getting good scores at this pad. You need to use up a lot of real estate. You don't want to get stuck in the one spot. You'll lose points for your driving skill. You need to really cover some ground.
Smoke scores will be good.
They definitely will be. I mentioned his consistent revs. You keep those revs up there and your constant smoke score is likely to be doing well.
The only problem with smoke this good is navigating this massive pad. But so far, Warren doing a pretty good job. He loses a little bit of momentum through the middle part of the pad there. Just trying to find some space where he's not been just in the last 5 or 6 seconds. And we're starting to shed some rubber, starting to see some sparks from the rims.
Yeah, he's got himself right down in the bottom corner of the pad. He's used a fair bit of area this time. This is a really, really good skid.
So already we're starting to get a good idea as to where you need to be if you want one of those golden tickets. Definitely in the 90s. Look at that crowd lining up down the left-hand side as Ty Burley in up for it. This beautifully prepared Chevy Camaro gets ready to throw it around.
Yeah, it is one sensational car. 69 Camaro, blown injected small block Chevy up the front. Look at this smoke. He's got the revs right up there. He's engulfed the place in smoke. Not much room in front of him. Going to be tough to be able to find his way around, find some clear ground, but he's found some down in the bottom corner. He hasn't had a lot of luck with this Camaro of late, Ty, so it'll be good to see if he can get the tyres off in this skid here in the final.
Remember, Summernats 29? A week after New Year's in 2016. That's where we'll see the very best, not just in Australian burnouts, but anywhere on earth. Guys like this and smoke like this.
These are going to have to be huge scores. Instant smoke, constant volume of smoke. They'll be right up there. They'll be 9s, 9.5s. This is scoring really, really well. Oh, hang on a sec.
He's got himself lost. The noise has gone down, and I think he's had to pinch reverse and maybe even just nuzzled the wall a bit then.
He may well. Oh, yeah, he's just given it a little kiss. Well, let's not worry about that. Let him get this skid finished. It's been so good so far. He's not worried about it. Listen to those revs. Up over 1,000 horsepower, just punishing this engine. And a skid like this has been a long time in the making for Ty.
A lot of time and effort put into this car.
Absolutely. He'll be pumped. He won't be worried about the little kiss on the wall. He will be as excited as any man in this venue, no question about it. Well done, Ty Burley.
There's the score. It's 87. Unfortunately hurt by that slight tap on the wall. But the crowd absolutely appreciate what he's been through. Just playing with the throttle, celebrating style. And when you slow it down, you get an appreciation for just how special that car is. A quick break here from Brashernats 2015. The Burnout Masters to continue after this with one of the crowd favourites in Lynchy. He always gives us something special and you don't want to miss it.
Lynchy. Absolute legend.
Madman. Absolute madman.
Crazy. Nutbag. Love his driving. No, he's a really good bloke.
Loose as. He's a champion.
Oh, Lynchy, he's a madman, you know what I mean? I wish he had a driving school because I would like to get some lessons from Lynchy.
Best wheelman I've ever seen. He's entertaining and he's a larger-than-life character that you just go, you can't help but smile when you're chatting to him. He's just, you never know what he's going to say or do.
Maniac. Absolute just maniac. Just he is the driver's driver.
Damn, that boy can drive. If you were going to put someone on a pedestal in the sport as far as driving, he is it.
He's probably one of the craziest drivers I've ever met.
The crowd love him. He's got a cult following of his own, you know what I mean? And his driving style, if he had like 1,000 horsepower, you'd never beat him.
What he can do in a car is mind-blowing, unbelievable. And he's got the best personality to go with it, so he's a champion.
Yes, his peers have pretty much told the story for us. This man is something special. And there's one reason why we love him, and that's it right there, the tip-ins.
Here's the king of the tip-in, Andrew Lynch. Tunnel Ram LS1 up the front of this little Corolla. Absolutely drives the wheels off it every time he gets it out on the pad. Listen to that limiter. It barely takes a break from it.
Bouncing off the limiter, and he easily finds his way back to where it all started. One thing we've been seeing from him in the past is he likes to use the entries and the exits of the burnout pads. We saw that in what was an unbelievable skid at Summernats 28.
There's no question about Lynchy. He really sets the benchmark for driving. Basically, when he comes out onto the pad, the judges are going to give him a 10, and if he makes any mistakes, they'll just work backwards from 10, but it's rare that he ever falls away from that 10 out of 10 for his driving skill.
That's what we were talking about earlier. He likes to use not just the pad, but then some. I think he might have just clipped the grass, though, which actually might hurt his scores.
Did look like he tagged the grass. That'll take off maybe a point or half a point.
Sparks are coming. These tyres are going. From Horsham in Victoria. Boom, there goes one.
I think he's got them both down. He doesn't like stopping when there's no rubber on the back.
Unbelievable. This guy has some of the best car control and some of the best energy anywhere. Unfortunately, the score probably won't reflect just how much entertainment he delivers.
Yeah, he's the king of entertainment. Have a look at that.
I don't think anyone enjoys doing burnouts quite as much as this guy.
Oh, he's so pumped. The adrenaline just coursing through his veins. A great burnout, but he would have lost a couple of points for just tagging the grass. And because he's driving so fast, he just can't really get the tyres to the ground to make that bulk smoke like the blown injected cars do.
Speaking of, here comes LS1, Rick Fuller. One of the sweetest sounding cars we have anywhere around the country. And believe me, this man has seen plenty of the country. He's from Melbourne, but he's been skidding in Darwin, Cairns, of course, Canberra, over in Perth, and now in Sydney. He's going to make the most of this.
He's a great competitor, Rick Fuller. Everywhere he goes, he's always placing in the top 3, top 5. He's got a massive cabinet full of trophies, this man. Beautiful sounding engine, as you mentioned. It's the blown injected LS1. They just have that unique sound. I don't know how they do it, but they all sound like it, and it's a sweet sounding engine. Bouncing off the limiter. Some people like it, some people don't. I've got a little soft spot for it. It sounds like he's just punishing that thing, giving it absolutely all he's got. can affect the scores with the judges. If it's hitting the limiter, it's shutting down cylinders. But just have a listen to this sweet sound.
Not bad for his backup engine.
Yes, he picked this one up from the wrecker a couple of weeks ago with 250,000 Ks on it. Cost him about $300, but it's doing a good job.
The original 383 that he wanted to be using in these kind of competitions, unfortunately, has seen the end of its days. And so he's having to improvise. You can see what kind of punishment we're talking about when you see those big red glowing pipes.
I reckon he's probably taken a bit of fuel out of it to build up the horsepower in this stock motor, and that's why it's got so hot. Doesn't matter, tyres are off, he's out of the car. And that was a really, really good skid.
That is why this man was inside the top 3 at the Burnout Masters this year in Canberra. So many miles, not only in that motor, but in all kinds of burnout pads all around the country, and proof that this is very much a sport on the growth at the moment. Have a look at those pipes. That is ridiculous, the amount of heat that's pouring out of that thing. Is now Nick Fraser, and another little Corolla enters the pack.
Enter it in style too. Now this man's been hanging around Lynchy a lot lately, and I can tell you the effects are wearing off.
Got the tyre militia sticker across the top. Corolla's always welcome at Brashernats, of course.
Oh yeah. If you want to impress the bloke that runs the show, just drive one of these little beasts. Now he's got a 408 LS up the front of this, the 671 and the big injector hat on top, running methanol through it. He's been getting better and better and better every show that he's going to. He's always been a good driver, but now he's been able to pick up the skill of being able to pull the car through the donut exactly like that. Drives out the other side, a genuine 360 there from Nick Fraser.
You mentioned that experience and the fact that he's getting better recently, going up to Darwin only a month ago to run Brashernats up there. Only going to give him more miles, only going to give him more experience and more confidence. You can never underestimate just how important confidence is in a burnout.
Oh, confidence is everything. Yeah, you've got to have a reliable car, you've got to have a good engine, but you've got to be confident in yourself and your setup to go out there and give it everything and put on a performance like this. This is great. This is going to be scoring well. This is 9.5 out of 10, I reckon, for the driving ability. His smoke scores, they'll be 8s, 8.5 out of 10. This is going to be a pretty good scoring burnout, and he's loving every minute of it.
Butterflies opening and closing, always a good way to know what the throttle's doing right there. Talking about those big 3 round red panels that sit across the front of the injector hat. And
there we go.
Now they're closed. Well done. That was right out of the top drawer there for Nick Fraser. A chance to lap it up in front of this big Sydney Dragway crowd, and not quite getting up to where Gersekowski was with 91, but a good score.
Yeah, he'd be happy with that. Getting a lot of reliability out of the car these days, Nick Fraser.
A good skid, but still, 91 is the score to beat. Can anyone get above that? We'll find out on the other side of this. A quick break here from Brashernats, the Burnout Masters. Welcome back to Precision Brashernats. This is the Burnout Masters. And to give you an appreciation for just how good the skids have been, here's some more action from inside the top 30. Plenty of drama under lights at Sydney Dragway. And here comes Killer B, this wild, modern-day looking Chev, big block and blown.
Steve Nogas in the Camaro. This is a stunning looking car and a very, very solid performer these days too. He's been getting a handle on this 1,500 horsepower big block Chev. Recently reduced it down to 510 cubes, which has enabled him to be able to pick the revs up. And have a listen to that. Really, really sweet sounding, big, consistent revs.
The colour of the smoke won't get him any extra points, but it'll earn him some extra fans. This car took 18 months to build, did so with the help of his 2 sons, Ben and Josh, and also a very supporting wife in Anita. Together they own their own limousine business, the first to bring in a stretched Hummer into Australia.
But at the moment, he's doing a great job in this Camaro. He's recently changed the suspension in the rear end to be able to give him more control at the wheel, and it shows. This is a much better drive from Steve. Using plenty of the pad. Consistent revs. Smoke scores are massive. Instant, constant volumes of smoke. They'll be 9+.
Oh, that was the sparks out of the back. Killer B has taken flight tonight in Sydney. The car originally purchased at an auction in Milwaukee in the USA, converted to a right-hand drive, and he has put on an absolute show. Look at the rear end. Wow.
Just going for a casual Sunday drive. Fat arming it on the way out. Great effort by Steve. 92.5.
48-year-old from Werribee goes to the top with that effort. Unbelievable burnout from Killer B. Where's that one been hiding? Incredible stuff. Now we go over to Ross Heasley and Mr. Bad Q. And for something different, he's going to talk us through the perfect skid.
Okay, so the last car's just finished. Usually the guy on the start line, he motions you up to the line, you edge up there. I'm constantly looking, making sure the oil pressure's okay. This is before I start the skid. I've got a little bit of oil temp into it. I've got a little bit of water temp, just make sure everything's right. He'll flag me off. I'll put it in, I've got a 3-speed, so I generally take off in second. Sometimes it's first, but second. Hard on the brake, nail it until it bounces off the limiter a little bit, in the top gear, and then it's showtime. So off the brake, come flying in. Hopefully you'll come right around again. If the pad is big enough, I want to try and come around a second time. If the smoke's behind you, I'll generally continue in a straight line to the other end of the pad. You always want to try and use the most amount of pad as possible. I'm constantly looking for markers on the pad, so I know where the walls are, I know how far away they are, I know where the entries are. Try and keep a little bit of speed up, so try and keep off the brake. Most importantly, keep away from the wall. With my left foot, it's always constantly resting on the brake, not necessarily pushing the brake down. And the right foot, it is just constant. I rev this thing to about 7,500, so I do not let it drop below about 7,000, 7,200. It would be 1/10, if that, of the throttle. Now, because I've got carbies, I can keep a nice constant rev. The blown injected guys with their hats and whatnot, they have a lot of trouble keeping it off the limiter. So, to me, keeping off the limiter is very important. Very high, strong revs, that's what counts. Once the tyre starts to delaminate, it takes the top off it. Usually you get a fairly severe vibration, and you know it's close. Then you can feel one go, and then you'll feel the other one go. And as soon as that second tyre goes, it's like a dog on lino. It is just that slippery and hard to control. So yeah, sometimes getting out of the pad is a little bit difficult.
Great insight from Ross and a great skid, and check out the end result. It's like something out of the movie Tron.
Yeah, that was a really great description there by Ross. He basically drove the car to his plan. So it's great to see these guys going out with a plan and sticking to it. Burnouts have become a little bit more than just going out and chucking a car around a slab of concrete.
You never mentioned anything about the horse's head though. Wild shots, look at those pipes glowing. And we're going to go to another quick break, but on the other side, we're going to be checking out a debut skid for Steve Loader's Reload. You don't want to miss it. This is the Burnout Masters. Welcome back to the Burnout Masters. After unveiling this amazing car at Summernats 28, Steve Loader is finally ready for his second car, Reload, to hit the track.
Yeah, I've been itching to do a skid in the green car, but I don't want to wreck it, but in the day it's a skid, so just go out there and give it all. I don't know how it's going to go. I haven't driven an aspirated car for probably 10 years or something, and I haven't really done any sort of skid in it, so we'll just have to go there and see what happens.
And skid he did. Reload on debut, putting on a show for the Sydney Dragway crowd and doing good enough to qualify him inside the top 30, but he then decided to maybe park the car and leave it for another day. I think he'll be very happy with the debut of Reload, doing a great job. Could have come out for a second run here at Brashernats 2015, but Aaron has decided that when you've got a car as good as UC Smoke waiting, why not hop in it and do the business?
Yeah, why not indeed? This is one of the best burnout cars in the country, one of the best burnout cars in the world. Look at the speed in that tipping, drives it all the way through. That'll be faring well with the judges straight off the bat. Big instant smoke scores, big constant smoke and driving skill. He's demonstrated them all in the first 5 or 10 seconds.
I think there was a small oil leak with reload, which is ultimately why he chose to leave it out of the top 30. I think he'll be happy with the fact that it's going to go home looking as immaculate as it left, and he can just worry about using UC Smoke to do what it does so well.
It's interesting the contrast between the two burnouts. You heard reload a little bit earlier on. Constant revs at 9,000 RPM, but no blower, no injector hat. Listen to UC Smoke, just feathering the throttle slightly. He's actually doing it a lot less than what he typically does. That's why he's getting this massive volume and consistency of smoke. This is a great skid.
Shedding rubber in a big way. UC Smoke, after already laying down a burnout early in the day in reload and qualifying inside the top 30 with this car as well, is giving us something to think about.
He's excited. You don't see Steve Loader get excited. He was out the window there.
Look at the sparks off the back as the rims chew into this burnout pad.
He knows he's done a great job. He can feel within himself that he's probably going to be the one to beat.
That was a fiery exclamation mark on a very good burnout. And look at that, 95.5 out of 100. That is a huge score, number one.
Yeah, he knew that. He could feel it. He knew he'd done as good as he could possibly do.
Wow, how about that for a shot? The feathering of the throttle, like Aaron talked about, plenty of smoke, and did a good job in trying to keep that right foot planted as much as possible to keep those butterflies open. Number one score at the moment, and has his hands on one of those golden tickets to Summernats 29, and well might he be excited. Time for a New South Welshman. Here comes Billy Seton in Silly.
And no stranger to burnouts, this bloke. Finished third in the Burnout Masters a couple of years ago in dramatic circumstances when he pushed his own car off the pad with broken steering arm. Blown injected big block up the front of this HQ. Gives it a big rev too.
From a small place called Junee, southwest of Sydney by about 470 k's. Population of only 4,500, including this guy. Also, some famous names like Laurie Daly, Ray Warren, even Adam Gilchrist at one point lived down in Junee. And I tell you what, not a bad burnout at all, this one from Silly.
Making bucket loads of smoke. He's engulfing himself. He can't see any clear ground. He really needs to take a punt like Cold Trickle in Days of Thunder and just plough through the smoke and find himself some clear ground.
Well, that right-hand tyre definitely looks to have spent its last shred of rubber. Just wants to match it with the left side, and there it is.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, good skid. Really good smoke scores. He won't be right up there in the driving skill score, but that's not to the detriment of his burnout. It was because he made so much smoke. Just didn't have that clear vision. But that'll be scoring well.
Very well, as a matter of fact. It's a 90 for Billy Seton, and a chance to enjoy what was a real highlight of the night. Anything over 90, and you know you've done a very good job in the burnout pad. Another quick break, and on the other side of this, we're going to be checking out some more action from inside the top 30 here at Precision Brashernats. It's all part of qualifying for the Burnout Masters next year in Canberra for Summernats 29. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Brashernats 2015. And when guys like Fred Watson didn't even make it inside the top 10, it has been an absolutely bruising affair inside the top 30. These are the guys that weren't quite high enough in the scores to make it through to the last 10. I think that proves one thing, Aaron, that we have had some serious competition here tonight.
Yeah, you're spot on, Chad. It's been a really tough day of burnouts here today. And this is another example of it. Steve Edsell in road. Yeah, beautiful tip in. Drove it straight through. That's what the judges like to see. Tip it in, drive it out. Genuine 360 style. Nice constant revs. Big smoke. All the smoke categories will be scoring well.
Another great example of modern day burnout cars Big blowers, injector hats. But the body and the finish of the car itself is absolutely on point as well.
Got a really good tune in this engine. You can hear how crisp it is. It's blown injected. It's over 500 cubes. It's got bucket loads of methanol running through it, but it sounds like an aspirated car. It's a really sweet sounding setup.
Actually made up the trip up to New South Wales with two of Steve Loader's cars that have also been on the burnout pad. Our current points leader for the night. Sparks out the back.
Constant revs all the way through the burnout. Gets on the throttle at the end when it's party time.
I'll tell you what, this has been short, sharp, to the point, aggressive, explosive. The sparks out the back say it all. Man.
Yeah, that's Burnouts 101. Steve Edsell in Rogue.
Wow, and over 90 as well. Pumped up with his effort. The man from Shepparton in Victoria. And that is worth the travel up the Hume Highway, that one.
Great shots out the back of Rogue. I mentioned earlier that he's got the tune set up nicely in this car, and he definitely has. Back in the day, this car would have set on fire with that exhaust out the back with too much fuel pumping through it, but they've got it spot on the money now.
And if you can avoid the fires, you can keep those scores high, because you will be flagged down if the Inferno gets too large. Here comes Matt Powell with some big speed in a tip-in.
Yeah, that's a fast tip-in, nice and deep too. Flips it back around the other way. Great driving skills from Matty Power. He really likes to challenge himself on the burnout pad. He's set the car up so he makes bulk instant smoke, bulk constant smoke. So he's got that part of it covered. But now what you'll find that he does is he gets himself in precarious positions and then skillfully gets himself out of it. So he's really working on his driving skill and showing the judges what he's got in that area of his burnout.
Just see little flashes from where he is right now. Summernats 29 next year, January 7 to 10. It's an absolute horsepower party that you do not want to miss. Summernats.com.au if you like what you're watching. And this man's been there before, actually runner-up in the Burnout Masters at Summernats 25.
He's actually been there a few times. Runner-up twice in the Masters, runner-up once in the Championship. This man will be keen as mustard to get his hands on the big trophy, the #1 spot at the Summernats Masters. And he's well on the way to getting a ticket here tonight with this burnout. This is great. He's touched every square inch of the pad. Tyres gone.
I think he was very close to that bottom wall then. The back of that tray using up every single little bit of covered up concrete.
That's tough. T for tough.
Living up to the name. I love the pipes out the side. I love the flames. I love the performance. And this could very well be a number that's good enough to send him to Summernats next year. Oh, 94. Well, he's second for now. That is good.
He'll be happy with that. That was really strong. Ticked the boxes highly in every category on the scoring sheet.
And that shot right there shows the raw power flames, the blower belt spinning around, and the elation. At the moment, he has his hands on one of those tickets, but here comes a man who we should expect will be around the top. Winner of last year's Brashernats in 2014 in Skidmore. Big-time entry. He's actually on a hat-trick of Brashernats victories coming off his Darwin win as well. Adrian Cuthbertson.
This bloke is one of the most entertaining guys to watch on the scene at the moment. He's got fantastic driving skill, throws the car around, gets genuine 360s and drives out of them. The judges love that. But also, this is a blown injected Chev, but constant revs. He's giving himself every single opportunity to score maximum points from the smoke categories.
Well, there is the smoke that we're talking about. Just quickly looks out the window so we can find some new real estate to move into. It's an 84 GK Sigma, believe it or not, purchased just outside of Newcastle in New South Wales. Although he's originally from Sutton, just near Canberra.
He looks pretty relaxed, as we can see from the onboard camera. But this is one wild ride from Adrian Cuthbertson in Skidmore. Not far from getting the tyres off now. Bit of fire underneath. He needs to get that tyre down quickly.
The race is on. He's done it.
I think he has.
And he cuts the noise. In come the fireys to investigate. But that will be a high-scoring burnout. 94.5, good enough for second at the moment. He won't complete the hat-trick like he would dearly have been wanting to do so, but that is a very good skid indeed. One last break for us here at Brashernats, and on the other side, we're going to continue the run towards the Burnout Masters in 2016. What a night it's been here, qualifying for the Burnout Masters at Brashernats 2015. And watch out, because here comes Brett Battersby. Check this thing out. Blown Lux, one of the most popular cars doing skids anywhere in the country. Can you call it a car?
Well, it's a bit of a monster truck almost, isn't it? And for a monster truck, he's tipped it in fairly nicely there. It's not something you normally see from Brett, the fast tip-ins, but he's been working on that. And that was a nice entry. We've seen him a couple of times of late, tips it in a little bit faster and picks the front wheels up on this beast. I think he's just done it to him.
Just like that. That's bravery.
Now this car is very unique. 540 cubic inches, blown injected Chev. It sits high up in the air. This guy sets the bar for volume of smoke. There is no other car out there that makes this much smoke. And he set it up to do that. He runs massive mud digger tyres on the back. He's got the highway diff gears in it. The thing's making over 1,000 horsepower, so it's got the grunt to be able to turn those giant tyres. And that's what's enabling him to score well in the instant, constant and volume of smoke categories.
Amazing that massive motor, once upon a time in this Hilux, was a 4-cylinder when he originally bought the big Toyota as a second-year apprentice. My, how it has changed, and the heights that it's taken him to as well. Crowned as this year's Burnout Masters champion at Summernats. We'll get to the business end of this burnout. It was this event last year where he got his golden ticket as well.
Just driving to his strengths, Brett Battersby. He knows he can't tip it around like Lynchy, so he's doing everything he can to get the most out of those other smoke categories.
Oh, there they go. Well, they've got the tyres down, and there's points for that as well. 92 is impressive. It'll see him inside the top 5. Blown Lux with the suicide doors. Popular as always, Brett Battersby. You just sometimes have to shake your head when you see that.
Great shots coming out of there. You can see the ghostly expelled burnt fuel coming out of the exhaust. And those huge four-wheel drive tyres on the back.
Yeah, one of the crowd favourites, and rightfully so. Brett Battersby knows how to play up to the big crowd. And we have but one more remaining. Can Darcy Ying go high into the 90s and take this one out and Corrupt?
Yeah, new engine setup up the front of Corrupt. 550 cubic inch, blower, injector hat. This is tough. This is tough.
Oh, right up against the Liqui-Moly side.
Interesting setup with the exhaust. He's got both pipes coming out one side. I wonder how he's actually getting it past the tail shaft. But this is angry. Really, really angry.
This has been a very good burnout so far. No shortage of smoke. The only problem is, can he find his way through that smoke when it gets this bad?
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
Oh no! He finds the wall. A big impact on the left-hand side. And he keeps his foot in it. He's still going.
Well, the car's not broken. Let's keep skidding. That'll hurt his scores, his driving control and his consistency of smoke, but he's not worried about it. He's not worried. He's going to keep going. He's got to get the tyres off this beast.
I'm surprised it didn't hurt the car more, to be honest. There is a fair old witness mark, especially on the left rear. You can see it there as it whizzes by.
Yeah, and it's missing a bumper as well, but it's not stopping Darcy Ying. He's given the limiter a fair old hiding in this big block.
And just having to feather the throttle, he got close to that wall once again. He doesn't want to repeat what happened only a few moments ago. Well, he'll be disappointed with how this has worked out, plus the damage as well.
Take the disappointment out of it. This has been one hell of an entertaining burnout.
There's the pipe out the left. That is a nice touch indeed. Thankfully, the bumper's on the other side of the wall now. You can see he's livid with himself.
Yeah.
And this is more just a skid out of anger now.
Yeah, he knew that had he not hit the wall, that he was going to be going okay.
85 is the end result. He's very unhappy, isn't he? But
I'll tell you what, the crowd's not unhappy. Crowd favourite or what?
That was a big way to finish off the night, and unfortunately, though, it Didn't quite go the way that Darcy would have wanted. There was just so much smoke, that was the problem. He created it by being very good at the original part and whack, just blindsided.
Wow.
Well, there's only one way to finish this night off. Here comes the boss himself. This man is what it's all about. We call it Brashernats because it's Mick Brasher's show, and he's going to finish the night off in style in U-Legal.
Brasher just rips out 4 360s in a row. It just says to the 114 blokes that entered his show, listen here, boys, I'm still the best. You need a sticker on the back that says Chasing Mick Brasher.
One arm out the window, rocking the race suit as well. He's on the forefront of safety in burnouts as well.
Yeah, he's a good man for the sport, Mick Brasher. And this is why.
There's the smoke pouring out of the windows. This is how you finish off what has been an amazing event. Brashernats 2015 in style. Mad Mick himself. You reckon the crowd are liking this?
That's just awesome. That is awesome.
I don't remember so many sparks in one night. It's been a big one. And the whole crew rush in to celebrate with Mick. What has been a massive event. And U-Legal once again putting on a show. Lynch is in there. A few famous faces indeed, but that is how they'll wind up. And congratulations to Steve Loader and UC Smoke, and on a good debut as well for Reload. How about Adrian Cuthbertson? He misses out on the Brashernats hat-trick, but gets second in Skidmore and also gets himself one of those golden tickets. And here he comes, Stephen Loader. I think he'll be very happy with how this night's panned out. Shakes hands with Mad Mick himself.
Yeah, mate, looks like we're coming back again, and yeah, hopefully it has some better luck this time.
Taking out the third and final ticket will be Justin Page. He won the aspirated class and is now heading to Summernats in 2016. And for Mick Brasher, it's the end of another great event, and didn't he finish it off in style in U-Legal?
I'm stoked. I'm stoked that I get so much support in the burnout scene. Remember, we are not hoons, we are car enthusiasts, and that motto's, I'm going to keep saying it, I'm going to keep saying it. The sport's growing. Hey, I'm in a fire suit from now on. What can I say? Look at them all.
A massive event indeed. Thank you to Aaron Mackley for his special comments. Once again, Precision Brashernats has put on a big show, and it's all about qualifying for Summernats 29. You don't want to miss it, January 7 through 10 in the nation's capital. I'm Chad Nailon saying, see you later. We'll catch you next time we go sideways and light 'em up.